Hey YouTube, and a very special hello to everyone coming from my autism video, The Invisible Things We Can't Do, Boundaries Between Neurotypical and Autistic People. I got a very good comment that I am responding to. Also, this is a view of my partially finished YouTube studio. So, anyways, at Pikachu, this was from 2 weeks ago, and this is like take number 9, if not 10. I don't know. Not all at once. Different days. Anyways, my husband and I are both officially diagnosed as AudHD, which I think means autism and ADHD together. I know some about autism from personal experiences. I'm slowly learning stuff online, but I'm letting the algorithm on YouTube send it to me. I'm not just researching stuff. Like recently, I've learned that a lot of autistic people really like to learn about autism, and they dig in deep, and I'm like, I was diagnosed when I was 25. I've been like pretty good at I haven't acted mostly normal all my life, but I'm better at that now. And like, I don't want to just spend time with my whole focus being, let's find out how weird and different I am. Different, not less. But like, so the stuff that I've watched has been good and I've liked it, but I let it come to me. And if it looks interesting, I'll watch it. I'm not out there specifically like trying to learn about my research because or my condition because I'm too busy like doing other stuff. So next she says, I got the feedback at work that they told me something, but now I don't remember because they probably used indirect communication. That's true. I don't think I have a problem remembering indirect communication. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Understanding it, I mostly understand indirect communication, but yeah, I can see how you'd be more likely to not remember the indirect communication. Sorry. Now here's the big thing. You said something that my husband says often. I can't get up right now. Close quote. Can you explain that to me? Absolutely, yes. I would love to explain that to you. I just have to have a good take of this. Oftentimes I just record it and whatever and upload it, but I'm trying to have this be good. So, yep. And there's a little bit of back and forth right there. There's another person that I need to tag in this. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to also have to tag at Rachel Ammons because they say following. So, I have basic notes for this now to help me, and it's actually helped with the past few takes. So we need to talk about energy types, first of all. There's physical energy, and there's mental energy. So physical and mental. And then spoons. I watched a video about a year or two ago, Paul Micallef, Autism from the Inside, about spoon theory. Like, why? Why? That doesn't make sense to me, and it bothers me a little bit. It's energy. Just call it what it is. I need to calm down a bit, though. It doesn't make sense to me. Normal people understand energy. You got your phone, you use it, energy goes down, plug it in, energy goes up. Then you have, what is it? Oh yeah, and then like batteries in a remote. The energy runs out, you have to replace the batteries. They understand needing to recharge by eating and sleeping and then being able to handle the next day and whatever comes with it and taking a break. They get that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know why neurotypical people can't just understand energy. Let me know in the comments below why. And if you want to use spoons, I'm not like trying to be mean and tell you no and push you away from using spoons. It's just confusing to me. So you can use that word, that term, but I might more likely to be like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, that's right. Some people call it energy. I don't know why. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below why, because maybe you'll give a good enough explanation and I'll be like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. I'm doubtful, but I'm open-minded and willing to listen, at least. So, causes of energy drain are a big thing for what we're talking about here. Sleep is one that can cause energy drain for both parts. I'm not exactly sure why. I've been not getting to bed at very good times, and this kind of started around the 2 or so weeks ago. not fun. I ended up getting to bed super late one night, and so then it's caused this cascade of getting to bed late and not like getting good sleep, even if I sleep in a little bit later, except on days when I work, so I can't do that. And I'm working to get my sleep cycle back to being the slightly better that it was. But I think my I think my physical energy took the hit first. Not super extreme, but it did. And then my mental energy started to take the hit. And especially I noticed when I was doing a Minecraft stream before going to the farmer's market one week, and all of a sudden, I felt all my energy and the food and like the sugars just, it was like sucked out of me. I could tell I was hungry. I'm like, I need food before I go to the farmer's market. So I'm going to go and get some food. And I stopped my Minecraft stream early and got food, and then went to the farmer's market. And we'll be circling back to that feeling that I just described in a moment. But yes, that is something that can happen. And partially maybe related to sleep, but it was eventually, after a little bit of my physical energy being not so good, then I noticed my mental energy started taking the hit. And I've actually got to keep that up. I've got this Starburst that I'm kind of warming up in my hand and melting a little bit here, because maybe I'll have to eat it. I've also been eating York minis for most of these. Keep them here in my little mini fridge, but those haven't been quite working. I even had a bit where I reached into my mini fridge and pulled them out, just because I needed them in the first video, but then I liked it, so I've been doing it, but whatever. So, physical activity. That one is one that mainly affects your physicals. Moving things around, pretty much any kind of physical activity you can think of, sports, it's going to affect your physicals and less so your mentals. It can affect your mentals, since I use sports as an example for this take. Maybe if you didn't win, you didn't perform your best, that's going to make you mentally down. Or just, why do I have to mow the lawn? Why do I have to help weed in the garden? I don't like this stuff. I don't want to. I'd rather be in cool AC house, watching TV, playing video games, and you get yourself worked up. So it can affect your mentals somewhat, but it's more so affecting your physicals. So then, mental tasks are going to affect your mentals. So you've got math, different science things, having to figure out stuff, mental work like that, definitely will affect your mentals. And then social interaction can, I think. I don't know, because I have a pretty big social battery. But the big thing is, I don't know if that affects what we're talking about here specifically. But my social battery is pretty big. Large crowds don't bother me. Speaking in church doesn't bother me. The only thing I don't like about large crowds is the extra heightened awareness of having to look around, make sure I'm not bumping into someone, watching where people are going, like at the Orem Summerfest carnival type thing recently, Orem Fest. There was some of that. It was a little bit annoying, just looking around and having to be extra watchful of where people were walking. Or what more so annoyed me though with that was when I was standing just a little bit a ways away from, so like here's a booth selling stuff, and like I'm right here, right? Just kind of looking around, seeing what they have, and then like people are walking along, and instead of going single file behind each other, they split and they walk around me, and one person is going in front of me as I'm trying to look at stuff. And maybe I was standing a little bit farther away from the booth than I should have been. Like, what? No, go behind me. It's clear that I'm looking at something. But I don't have that happen very often. What happens more often, though, is being in the grocery store when you have a lot of people. Then it turns into like driving, because you have a shopping cart. That is annoying. I don't like driving in general. I don't have a license. I would kind of not mind having one someday, but I would need a car with automatic braking just as an extra safety feature, because I scored on my autism diagnosis. I got the what's it called? Processing delay, I think is the name for it. The one I want is the Chevy Volt. I can talk about that in another video. There's different reasons behind wanting that car versus others. That's a whole nother video. But in general, not a lot of people on the road. Driving is boring. But when there are a lot of people on the road, you have to be watchful. Where are people? Is there someone? Because I'm going to be turning here. Is there someone in my blind spot? All this stuff. Even if you're just going straight for a while, you have to know where people are and know what's happening to be able to, like, figure out what to do. But driving, however, it kind of has a flow that you just follow. And, like, there's a pathway to turn your blinker on and turn, and you want to go somewhere, so you have this path that you follow and you turn here. And cars are generally following a flow, weaving in and out of each other. With shopping, it's very different, though, because people don't necessarily follow that flow. I actually want to do a video about, like, when you're in the large open spaces in a mall, walking between the shops. A lot of people aren't walking right side is going forwards. They're going opposite direction, and I want to talk about that in a separate video. In the grocery store, though, it's completely excusable and different because stuff is on both sides of the aisles. You're trying to go to between the different aisles. And so, you're trying to get stuff. I'm going to eat this now, see if it helps. I might also be tired from recording a take earlier and more interested in other things, maybe. But, yeah. Because there's stuff on different sides of the aisle. That's when you kind of have to be on the opposite side to get your stuff. So you're going this way, but you're on the left side. That breaks the driving rule, but what makes this really bad when shopping, the thing that I really don't like, is because, again, with driving, you've got this flow. And even if most people are going to the grocery store, you're converging on a single point, there's still multiple ways to get there. There's still multiple parking spots. But with shopping, no. All of a sudden, it's a super busy Saturday, and 15 people all at the same time need onions. Well, the onions are right there, and they're nowhere else. So you all have to converge on this one point and wait your turn. I haven't met any really rude people while shopping, people that tried to butt their way in and push around. But you're all just converging on this one point. You have to watch and see where everyone is. Make room for people who are not waiting for onions while you're just, like, standing there waiting. So I don't like that aspect, but it doesn't really drain my mental battery too much. Because, like, there's some apartments near Winco where we do most of our shopping. Let's pretend a friend lived there and they were having a party. Potentially even if it was a rave. I don't necessarily like super loud noises and having to do that sort of a thing. But as far as just the number of people being around at the party, it wouldn't bother me. I could go shopping. I could have it be a little bit tense watching all the people doing their shopping, having to weave around between them. And then I'm with my mom. She takes the groceries home. I go over to the party. No problems. I would be fine. Now, there's different ways that these two separate types of energy can be. You can have your mental energy and your physical energy can be fine. Both of them can be low. You can have your physical energy be low, but your mental energy is fine. That's the main thing we're focusing on. You can also have your mental energy be low, but your physical energy is fine. These look like different things. So, for example, if I work somewhere where I have to pack boxes of stuff, so I'm packing boxes, both of them are fine. Manager comes over. Hey, Caleb, yeah, we got a new task for you. Can you come do it? Yeah, sure, great. I'll be right over. I pack up my last box, set it aside, go on to the new task. Now, if my mental energy is low, but the physical's fine, then it's kind of a bit like if you have a robot that is driving straight on its treads, and then it loses power to the system that lets it steer and, like, turn and change direction, but the power to the motors are still going. So it just keeps on going. So, again, packing boxes. Hey, Caleb, we got a new task for you. Can you come help? Yeah, sorry. A little tired. Sure, I can do the new task. And they might even have to say it again. Hey, Caleb, we got a new task. Can you come do it? Now, when your physical energy, that's when the mental energy is low, but the physical is fine. When your physical energy is low and your mental energy is fine, it will look the same as when both of them are low. But the key difference between your physical being low and your mental fine versus your mental fine, versus your mental low and your physical fine, it's what's up here in the thinking. So what this will look like then is going a lot slower, as you can see. Hey, Caleb, we got a new task for you. Can you come and do that new task for us? And they might have to say it again, but the thought is, they're talking to me. I need to get the energy to the right system so that I can respond. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little tired. Sure, what is it? And so this, yeah, not really fun when that happens, but that's kind of an example of what it might look like. I'll have more in just a moment. So now we got different ways to refill this energy or replenish it. So food, I find sugars are more for the mind, hence the Starburst that I'm eating, and protein is more for the physical. And also starches, other things. They do a little bit of both, but sugars are more for the mind. Eating sugars over the holidays really helped me at Dollar Tree, High Chew specifically. So my mom eats gummy bears. They keep her energy up. She lets Black Forest gummy bears dry out. And then I would do High Chew for when I was sick, because I noticed I get into the state where my body's ready to get better and finished, but it needs the energy to. But I can't handle solid foods yet. It's still going to throw them up. But High Chew will get me that energy so I can then get good enough, better enough where I can be in a state to eat, excuse me, to eat the physicals stuff. Excuse me. So, and then during the holidays, that was really big, because once I remembered that, I'm like, oh, this might help me. Because if you ask my friend Adam, and this started a little bit before the holidays too, with some people quitting and me having to work extra hours. So yeah, ask my roommate Adam, and he would say, oh yeah, Caleb was really out of it during the holidays. It was like too much. But the High Chew really helped. And so normally, because I only like grape and green apple. I've tried watermelon, didn't care for that, didn't like it. I'm not going to most likely try the other flavors because I don't like strawberry or mango in anything, really. So grape and green apple. Usually I'll buy a little bag of like this size, keep it around for when I'm sick. And I go to Winco and I buy them in bulk. I bought a big, huge, like pound-sized bag of grape and green apple, picking those individual flavors out of the bin. And my mom thought that was a little mean and not fair, because I kind of bragged. There was like no grape or green apple left in the bin. She thought that was kind of not fair, because it's supposed to be like a mix. And I kind of wondered if she was right. I was going to ask online, but I didn't. Even my roommate Adam was slightly agreeing with her. But I looked online. You can't buy those separately, so I have no other option. I have to. But then recently I saw someone else just getting a small size bag, but they only picked out the flavors that they actually like, which for them was grape and strawberry. So I don't feel so bad now. But I was eating these a lot during the holidays, and I was doing it discreetly. So like I would bend down, like I had to pick up something off the floor. So I was hiding behind my register, and I'd quickly put one in, and then stick the wrapper in the garbage can. And after a while, I started like smushing it with my fingers, and then I would like try and hide it in my cheek, or however I can be as discreet as possible. I know it's not perfectly discreet, but it's keeping my sugars up. It's helping me keep going with my job, which is important. And we did recently have a message in the work group reminding everybody we're not supposed to have snacks at the register. But if anyone does notice, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to say, hey, you guys know I have autism. This is just me helping keep my sugars up so that I can actually do a good job and get things done pretty quickly. I'm also being discreet about it, and I'm not just opening one up and eating it while the customer is like standing there. And if they're, basically I can describe it. I'm not too worried. I'm sure that my store manager would understand with that. But they were helpful for me during the holidays, and I've kept doing that since. I'm just not eating as many as I was during the holidays. So then in addition to that, we got sleep as an energy replenisher. Again, that's the weird one where I don't know exactly why it affects one thing, like physicals maybe, and then eventually it affects mental. I'm not sure why. Maybe that had to do with the activities that I was doing, because sometimes I end up staying up a bit late because I've worked a lot and I haven't had time to unwind completely yet, and so I'm watching stuff or playing Minecraft on a stream or whatever. So maybe that's related to it. Just thought of that for this take. And then finally, time alone. Again, social battery thing. I don't know how much that affects what we're talking about here. But the important thing with this can't get up, is it looks like laziness, or it can, but it's not that at all. I've already talked about it being trapped in your body. That's literally what it is. Man, I can't remember between takes what example I gave and what not. I'm going to trust the notes that I haven't given this example. But, yeah, I haven't this take. It's coming to my mind now. So there's a show. I almost said The Chosen. It's not The Chosen. That's twice I've almost said The Chosen between takes. It's The Flying House. Kids go back in time, meet Jesus. One of the characters is named Sir, short for Solar Ion Robot. And he's laying there low on energy, because I think it had been it's like raining and cloudy or whatever. And he sees Jairus getting arrested because false accusations were made against him. And I don't remember the exact wording, but basically his lines are like, oh no, is that Jairus? Must help, but can't. Must wait for sun to recharge. So he had to wait for his battery to be recharged. And so for me, though, this is a big personal thing, because I have had not very good physical energy growing up. So like getting dressed, here's my pants, here's my legs. Caleb, my mom would say, lift your leg up and put it in the pants. That's all I could do. I couldn't lift it up and over and into the pants. I thought it was funny. I didn't know why I somehow couldn't do this thing that I was being requested to do. I just thought it was funny. Didn't know why, didn't really care why I couldn't do it. My mom thought I was being annoying and silly, but no. She quickly learned I didn't have the physical energy, the physical capability to do that. It was almost a physical disability. Somehow, I got more physical energy, probably just through the stamina and using it more. In the old house, our dining room and our living room were one big rectangle, separated half with carpet, the TV, big CRT, the couch, fireplace, and the other half had hardwood flooring with the table and chairs. The kitchen was a separate room in this house, but I would try and start at the kitchen and hop my way all the way across the hardwood section on one leg, on my right leg. If my left leg came down partway through, had to go back to the beginning and start over. Parents would say, well, Caleb, why don't you just pick up from where you were and start that way and start again from just where you are instead of going back to the beginning? No, because I have to get it right. I'm going to get it right the first time. It has to be perfect. I want to. I pushed myself, and eventually I did it. And now that would be really easy for me to do. I could do it in a cinch. That's very easy. On the final childhood story, my mom would say, hey, Caleb, time to get up. Caleb, we need to get up. And then I would go, help me. Mental energy was mostly okay. Physical energy was just gone. I needed help. Because you're trapped in your body when this happens. So a camping story. in my notes. Once when I was camping, we were inside in bunk beds. And in the morning, some of the counselors, the leaders or whatever of the camp scouting stuff, they would come in and check on everybody. You didn't necessarily have to get up when they were doing this, but they would check it, make sure everyone was doing fine. I had been slightly woken up by that, but I'd gone back to sleep. And then after a while, I'm like, oh no, I can't move. I can't get up. I don't have physical, this is bad. Oh no, I gotta do something. I have to get up and I have to get some of my snacks from the bin that are underneath the bunk that I'm sharing with this other person. I was on the top bunk. I have to, otherwise it's gonna be really bad and there are gonna be problems, like really, really bad. And so I'm laying there and it's kind of like an old computer slowly booting up, is how I don't know exactly physically what's going on, but I know my mind starts redirecting energy to these other parts of my body. Slow computer booting up, and then finally, and I quickly jumped out from my bunk bed, and I pulled out my drawer, and I grabbed some snacks that I had, and nom 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 nom. My bunkmate was a little bit startled and surprised. It was maybe a little bit scary and weird, but I needed to get some energy in me fast. Otherwise, I was not going to be able to get up and do anything. And that would have been absolutely terrible for me. And I don't know what happens if you let this type of situation, this type of energy get way too low. To me, it seems like you're heading in the direction of coma. I'm not positive, but it almost seems like something similar to that. But it's probably not exactly that. Well, darn, I was hoping for all at once. I deleted stuff to make room, but it was in the recycle bin. It wasn't actually deleted. So, oops. Anyways. So, we got the camping story. Now, anger and snappiness. For me, that happens when you have, when like my energy is low. Mental energy being low can make me a little bit snappy, but especially when my physical energy is low but my mental energy is slightly better, then I can be more snappy because I have to get the quickest response out. I don't have time to actually give energy to my body to say everything, and I don't have time to quickly think. I have to say stuff somewhat quickly, and I'm tired. And so what it might look like is, my mom will say, Caleb, so what about like this thing needs to like change or whatever. And, well, Mom, yeah, well, you do that too. I probably do that thing because you do it. This is your fault, in a sense, almost. Maybe if you stopped doing it, then I would stop doing it because I'm learning from you. Or I'll say something along those lines. And then she'll be like, yeah, okay, maybe. You might be right. Or, yeah, I guess you're right. True, I'll think about it, whatever. But then she'll walk away into the other room, not because she's trying to get away from the conversation, to get away from me, although sometimes that is a solution in these situations, just giving the person space and time to recover, especially when their mental energies are low, But, I don't know much about mental energies being low, and social battery being low. But then, what often and she's just going into the other room to finish her finances. It's not because she wants to or needs to get away from me. And then for me, it's kind of like I'm just left sitting there, laying there in the armchair, whatever. I don't like that I was snappy at her. I don't like that I'm being more rude and snappy to other people, but there's nothing I can do. I literally can't, get the energy out, talk fast enough. I have to, when I'm finally gotten enough sleep after tonight and I've gotten food and I'm better, then I won't be so bad. But there's nothing I can do. I wish there was something I can do, but there's nothing I can do. I can't help it. And I don't want it to be this way. I don't like that I'm hurting her and other people. And I'm sorry. And I don't always say that I'm sorry. I need to do better at that. But I've talked about this a little bit in the previous video. It's kind of a thing of, but are they going to remember the thing that we had? Or am I just bringing it up and talking about it and making it feel a little uncomfortable or awkward myself when they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I actually didn't remember that we had a heated discussion that day, Caleb, but thank you for saying sorry. If you didn't remember, maybe I just won't. But also, it's a thing where I'm still processing and having to figure out and think about things and figure out what the next response is. An example, not a real example, just something I made up. But let's say, I don't know, it's like 6 in the morning. I get up and I get dressed for work. I'm not super noisy. You couldn't hear anything going on inside the middle of my house unless you were in there. And then finally, I'm done getting dressed. I open up the garage door. I turn on my average gas powered car that's not super noisy or anything. I pull out of the garage, close the door. I drive off down the street, not going super fast, not going super slow. I'm not making a ton of noise, just normal getting ready and going to work. And then later on, my neighbor talks to me and they're like, "You were super noisy this morning when you got up and did whatever the crazy thing you were doing." And it's not cool because it woke me up and I lost a bunch of sleep and now I'm tired. And so then maybe I'm still thinking about and figuring out what's going on. I mean, in real life, the answer would be obvious. But if I'm thinking about and processing this because I'm maybe a little tired or slow or whatever, then it's going to be like, oh, maybe I should say that I'm sorry. And if we're talking the empathy kind of sorry, like, oh, if your cat died, I'm sorry. Maybe I can be sorry for that. But I shouldn't have to be sorry for myself. Because then what really is, it's like, but should I be sorry that I won't? No. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. And if I were to talk to them again, if they brought it up again, I'd be like, I have work in the morning that I have to go to, and I can't change that. My work's not going to schedule me for later. That's when I'm scheduled. I have to go in. I wasn't making lots of noise. I wasn't blasting my music. I just got out. I drove away in a normal time. If I left quicker than that, you might have been woken up by even the louder noise of tires screeching as I quickly made turns and sped out of there. I'm sorry, but no. If me just being perfectly normal and waking up in the morning and leaving, as probably a bunch of the other neighbors around here do, well, if it bothers you, there's nothing I can do about it. So, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to move. But I'm not sorry that it woke you up, because get some noise canceling headphones or earplugs or whatever. I can't change my perfectly normal driving out of my garage in the morning to go somewhere with my average car not blasting music. So, little example for that. Let's check my notes again. So, some of the not saying sorry immediately for me is I'm still processing and figuring out what happened and understanding, okay, so how can I actually change to better fit the situation and what's going on and not be so bad in the future and just be a better, potentially nicer person? How can I work with them on this? Because I can't fully change how I think and process things, having type 1 autism. So what about, how can I handle this situation in the future? What can we do to work together on things? And so I might still be processing that, and I don't want to say sorry yet, because as the example says, then maybe it's a thing where I'm not necessarily going to say that I'm sorry. But I mean, if I'm being snappy and angry, then yes, sure. But sorry about some of the other ways that I did things that weren't related to the snappy angriness. Not so much. I might not need to. But it's really, really not fun because I don't like this. You are literally trapped inside of your body. And you don't have the energy to do things. And senses coming in, I think, are all should be fine. If your eyes are open and you're awake, maybe a little bit sleepy can affect things, kind of nodding off. But input through the eyes, I know for a fact is good. The processing there is, there's going to be some delay from what comes out. The output is delayed, the input is fine. So I can still process and recognize most things pretty quickly when my mental's fine, my physical's low. Taste is fine. If I'm eating something, I can recognize things. Smell is fine in that situation. And I think touch is fine, although I'm not touched very often by people. That's a whole nother topic, but I'm not super sensitive to touch like some autistic people are. I kind of used to be. I'm more comfortable with it now. I'm actually looking forward to, eventually I'll date somebody, have a girlfriend, get married, and seeing what touch will be like then and how it affects me with someone that I may be a little more comfortable, excuse me, with touching me. And I'll see if touch is affected by this or not. Although I suspect that it's not going to be affected by this. But, oh, yeah, so incoming is fine, outgoing is bad. So, again, back to our packing example. Oh, manager's talking to me. I need to send energy to my body parts so that I can respond. Yes, what's the other task? What would you like me to do? You literally have to reroute energy from certain places. I don't know why or how the nitty-gritty of that works, but that's what it feels like to me. And you're just trapped inside of your body is not fun, and I don't like it. And there are ways that you can help yourself get plenty of sleep. Make sure you eat food. I noticed I was a whole lot better when I was consistently eating food, like when I worked at a gas station. For me, I kind of don't necessarily like the idea of like eating food at jobs that give you food. I'll do it because it's, free food is good to keep my energy up and whatnot. But for me, it's kind of like, yeah, I signed up for this job because I needed money and I wanted to work in a job making food for other people. And like, I didn't sign up for it because the free food. That's not why I'm here. I kind of don't want to make myself a sandwich or whatever. Or like at the gas station, I think my favorite thing ended up being crispy chicken and sweet and sour sauce. And we also had a Blimpie sub inside of us, but I liked that over the sub sandwiches from Blimpies. So good. I love it. I loved it. But consistently actually taking a break and eating something helped me keep my energy up so I had better function throughout the day. And so that's what I try and do now, at least. Eat 3 meals a day. I'm often eating them later than other people. But keeping your food up can be good. Keeping your sleep up can be helpful. Maybe having some sugars. If you need to watch your social battery, you can do that too. And it's the same thing for people helping you. But so sometimes you need to give space. Sometimes. I've noticed with my mom sometimes it'll be like, oh, she's a little bit annoyed or bothered by something today. I'm just going to go away and not really have much to deal with her and let her do her own thing. And then eventually later on she'll be more calm. And sometimes I call it out. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you're not being nice. You're being like snappy. Or like, I'm just doing my normal average thing. I'm not doing anything different. You're just being bothered by it, but I can tell that you're bothered by something else or this other person. Catch yourself. Back off. I know I'm her son. I know I don't necessarily have complete authority to do that. I am an adult. I'm 30. But like, when I do that, it usually works out good. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I think you're right. Thanks. I'm going to work on that. But sometimes just giving space. But if you're on the other end of things, you might get into a pattern where it's, yes, when they're doing this, they want space. I've talked it out with them, and then you just walk away and give space. But just asking can be helpful. Hey, do you need a little bit of space to regenerate your social battery? Do you want space just because you're irritable and snappy and you don't like yelling at me? And then we'll come back when you're feeling better and you're not so tired. But then maybe they want you with them, so you can say anything we can do together that doesn't require a lot of mental energy, just watching a movie. Do you need me to get you some food? Like, do you need some sugar type of a thing? Or do you need, what is it? So do you need sugars? Do you need proteins? Whatever. Ask them about it. Help them work through it. And, if there's things you need to talk about, you can talk about that too. A little less related, but ask them what they want to do. Sometimes getting up and helping them walk around can help get the energy started flowing in the right places, but sometimes it doesn't. There was once where I was with my mom. I was really tired. She tried to have me walk down the sidewalk to get some energy, and she was dragging me along. A neighbor was driving by and they stopped and they're like, hey, do you need any help? And she's like, no, we got it. And then eventually we went home, and I didn't like that situation. I was not happy. I wish that she would have just let me go take a nap and sleep, because that's not going to work. There was nothing she could have done. And she did learn that, and she's less pushy about specifically doing that now, but it just made me a little angry, and I wasn't happy that she couldn't see that I just needed to go and take a nap, and there was nothing else to do. But, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to try and distill this into a short, teasing this longer video. Hopefully get some more views that way. But it's really just being trapped inside of your body because your mental energy's fine, but your physical energy's gone, so you can't talk as quickly. You can't move around and do things, and it's not fun. I don't like it. I'm sure your husband doesn't like it either. Again, it is not lazy at all. If you think it's lazy, you need to reevaluate things, or you're likely to have someone, they might blow up at you with angry words now, but later on, I don't know, in some cases, could possibly get physical. I'm not going to physically do anything to people. That's not really me. Sometimes I'll have thoughts of that. Sometimes I feel like being slightly more physical, or I have these thoughts, but it's not very often. I don't act on them. But it really is not fun, and I don't like it. And so if you liked this, leave a like down below. Definitely helps. If you know why it's called spoons for energy, spoon theory, talk about that in the comments below. Keep the comments clean, free from swearing and excessive sexual, sensual themes, or some excessive violence, not so much. I'm not trying to censor people's various differing opinions like that. I just like my comment section to be clean and friendly, but I'm open to alternative opinions and discussion of the like. And I'll see you guys in whatever's next. I think my notes helped. I think this is it. Stitch these two together and then upload it. I'll see you guys in notifications. Make sure they're turned on in your phone settings for YouTube, then subscribe, click the bell. Otherwise, just get my watch hours up. Go watch something. Go watch Airborne Death. Go watch what happens if you successfully pull someone's leg. I'll see you guys in whatever's next. Bye.